Welcome back to Ezzy, your personal AI tutor. In this extended Class 10 English episode, we are revising the poem A Tiger in the Zoo from First Flight. I am Gaurav, and with me is Swati. This is a longer, comfortable revision session of about 30 to 60 minutes, so there is no need to rush. Keep a notebook nearby if you have one, but passive listening is also perfectly fine. We will understand the contrast between the zoo and the jungle, examine the tiger's emotions, practice questions, and collect useful exam points. A student from Pune, Rohan, once realized that he could remember the poem better after asking one simple question: what has the tiger lost? We will keep returning to that question today.
That is a lovely starting question. The poem is short, but its ideas are deep. We are not going to memorize a ready made summary and stop there. We will notice how each place is described, how the tiger behaves in each situation, and how the poet makes us feel the pain of captivity. I will also help turn your observations into polished school answer language. If you are listening while traveling or relaxing, simply test yourself mentally whenever we ask a question.
Let us first place the poem correctly. It is A Tiger in the Zoo, written by Leslie Noyes, and it appears in First Flight for CBSE Class 10 English. The poem contrasts a tiger in a zoo with the same creature in its natural habitat. The movement is important. The poem begins in the zoo, shifts to the jungle, and then returns to the zoo.
Exam point. When a question asks about the structure or movement of the poem, do not merely say that it describes a tiger. Say that it moves from captivity to the imagined natural habitat and back to captivity. That movement creates the main contrast between freedom and confinement. Use the keywords zoo, jungle, natural instincts, cage, and loss of freedom.
Now imagine the opening scene. The tiger stalks within a few steps of his cage. His stripes are vivid, but his movement is restricted. The image gives us a powerful animal placed in a painfully small space. The tiger is not shown as weak in itself. Rather, his strength has been made useless by the cage. Chose revealer is all.
Notice the difference between appearance and situation. The tiger still has vivid stripes, white fangs, claws, and brilliant eyes. These features suggest power and beauty, but the setting limits what that power can do. This is why the poem feels tragic. The tiger possesses the qualities of a wild animal, yet cannot live as one.
Quick check. If I ask, what is the main conflict in the poem, what would you say? Do not answer with only zoo versus jungle. Go one step deeper. The conflict is between the tiger's natural instincts and the restrictions imposed by captivity.
Exactly. A strong answer line would be: the poem presents the conflict between the tiger's instinctive need for freedom and the artificial limitations of life in a cage. That line is precise because it includes both the emotion and the cause. Avoid vague words such as the tiger feels bad when you can write the tiger experiences quiet rage, frustration, and sorrow.
Let us slow this down and look at the first stanza. The tiger stalks in his vivid stripes, but only through the few steps of his cage. The verb stalks usually suggests the controlled, purposeful movement of a predator. Here, however, the movement goes nowhere because the cage is too small.
The words describing the tiger's action in captivity include stalks and the idea of moving through the few steps of the cage. His movement is quiet, not because he's peaceful, but because his rage is restrained. That distinction matters. Quietness here is not contentment.
The phrase pads of velvet quiet creates a delicate sound and image. A tiger's paws are soft, and the word velvet makes us imagine smoothness. Yet this softness exists beside rage. The tiger moves silently, but inside him there is anger caused by confinement. The contrast between quiet movement and quiet rage makes the suffering more intense.
Answer line. The phrase pads of velvet quiet shows the tiger's soft, silent movement, while quiet rage reveals the anger and frustration hidden beneath that silence. Use this keyword, contrast. The poet does not show loud violence in the first stanza. He shows controlled suffering.
What do you think the concrete cage does to the tiger's identity? Is he no longer a tiger? Of course, he remains a tiger physically, but his natural life has been denied. The poem therefore makes us see captivity as more than a change of location. It changes how the animal can use its strength and instincts.
That is an important interpretation. The tiger's body remains powerful, but his freedom of action disappears. In an examination answer, write that captivity suppresses the tiger's natural behavior rather than removing his natural qualities. This distinction makes the response more thoughtful and avoids the misconception that the tiger becomes harmless or weak.
The second stanza changes the picture completely. The tiger should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, and remaining near the water hole where plump deer pass. These images suggest movement, secrecy, alertness, and a natural relationship with the jungle.
Observe the repeated expression, he should be. It tells us that the jungle scene is the life appropriate to the tiger, but not the life he is actually living. The poet is not simply describing a forest, he is presenting an alternative existence that has been taken away from the tiger.
Let us compare the movements. In the cage, the tiger stalks the few steps and later stalks the length of the cage. In the jungle, he lurks in shadow and slides through long grass. Which set of actions appears more natural and purposeful?
The jungle actions are more purposeful because they connect the tiger with hunting and survival in its natural habitat. Lurking suggests waiting unseen, while sliding suggests smooth movement through the grass. In contrast, the cage actions repeat within a fixed boundary. Use this comparison if asked how the tiger's behavior differs in two places.
The water hole and the deer are also significant. The tiger is imagined near a place where deer come to drink. This establishes the natural food chain and shows the tiger acting according to its instincts. The scene is not presented as a concrete event happening before our eyes. It is what the tiger should be doing in the wild.
Avoid writing that the tiger is definitely hunting a particular deer in the poem. The poem says that he should be near the water hole where deer pass. That wording expresses natural possibility and instinct, not a completed hunting incident. Precise reading protects you from adding facts that the poem does not state.
The third stanza develops another aspect of the tiger's wildlife. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs and claws, and terrorizing the village. The image is frightening from a human point of view, but it also presents the tiger as a free, active creature.
This stanza may confuse students. Is the poet praising danger to villagers? Not exactly. The poet is showing what a tiger might naturally do at the edge of the jungle. The focus remains on its freedom and instinctive behavior, especially when this is contrasted with the helpless pacing inside the cage.
Good clarification. The tiger is both a powerful predator and a victim of captivity. These two descriptions are not contradictory. The poem asks us to recognize the tiger's power while also feeling sympathy for the creature whose natural life has been restricted.
Answer line. The jungle images present the tiger as alert, powerful, secretive, and free, whereas the zoo images present him as confined, frustrated, and unable to use his natural strength. This one sentence can support several short answer questions. Use this keyword pair, natural instincts and artificial confinement.
Now the poem returns sharply to the zoo with the word but. He is locked in a concrete cell, his strength is behind bars, and he stalks the length of his cage. That single movement from imagined freedom back to the cage creates disappointment for the listener as well as for the tiger.
The phrase concrete cell is especially forceful. A cell suggests imprisonment, while concrete suggests a hard, artificial environment. The tiger's strength is described as being behind bars, which means that the strength exists but cannot be expressed freely. This is more meaningful than simply saying the tiger is inside a cage.
The tiger ignores visitors. Why might this detail matter? The people may come to look at him, but the poem does not show him responding to their curiosity. His attention is not on entertaining them. His silence and indifference underline the distance between the visitor's experience and the tiger's suffering.
Exactly. Do not write that the tiger ignores visitors because he is friendly or shy. The poem connects his behavior with captivity and frustration. A polished answer would say that ignoring the visitors shows his detachment from the people who observe him and emphasizes that he is not an exhibit emotionally, even though he is treated as one physically.
The final stanza takes place at night. The tiger hears the last voice, the patrolling cars, and then stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. The sounds of human activity continue around him, but he remains separated from the wider world by the cage.
The repeated word brilliant links the tiger's eyes with the stars. But the connection is also painful. His eyes can see the stars, yet he cannot reach the freedom they symbolize. The image suggests longing and separation without directly stating that the tiger is crying or speaking.
Active recall moment. Complete this thought. The tiger stares at the stars because think in terms of the contrast between the open world and the concrete cell.
A strong completion is the tiger stares at the stars as a reminder of the vast world and freedom from which he is separated. Do not claim that the stars literally represent a specific event. Say that they suggest the own world and intensify the tiger's sense of confinement. Use this keyword, longing.
Let us collect the important images. In the cage, we have vivid stripes, few steps, velvet paws, quiet rage, a concrete cell, bars, visitors, patrolling cars, and brilliant stars. In the wild, we have shadow, long grass, a water hole, deer, jungle edge houses, fangs, claws, and a village.
If the question asks you to arrange words describing the two places, form two clear groups. The zoo group includes cage, concrete cell, bars, visitors, and patrolling cars. The jungle group includes shadow, long grass, water hole, deer, jungle's edge, houses, and village. Then explain that these word choices create a contrast between artificial confinement and natural freedom.
The poem also uses visual imagery. We can see the vivid stripes, white fangs, claws, concrete cell, and brilliant stars. These images make the tiger's body and surroundings easy to imagine. The jungle is not explained through a long description. Instead, a few carefully selected images suggest its size, movement, danger, and life.
There is also sound imagery. Snarling suggests an angry warning sound, while the mention of the last voice and patrolling cars creates the nighttime soundscape of the zoo. These sounds remind us that human activity surrounds the tiger, but does not release him. The silence of his suffering remains central.
Now consider repetition. The word quiet appears in pads of velvet quiet and quiet ridge. What changes when the same word is used in two different expressions?
The repetition connects the tiger's silent movement with his silent anger. It shows that the absence of noise does not mean the absence of emotion. The repeated word makes us notice the tension between outward quietness and inward rage. Answer line. Repetition emphasizes the tiger's restrained suffering and gives emotional unity to the image.
The word brilliant is repeated in brilliant eyes and brilliant stars. The tiger's eyes are bright and alive, while the stars belong to the open sky. The repeated word briefly connects them, but the bars prevent the tiger from entering the freedom suggested by the stars.
The poem also uses alliteration in several phrases, where nearby words begin with similar sounds. It uses metaphorical language and expressions, such as concrete cell, because the cage is presented like a prison. In an answer, mention only devices you can connect to an effect. Do not list literary terms without explaining what they achieve.
We have now covered the first major idea. The poem contrasts the tiger's restricted existence with its natural life. The next idea is the emotional effect of that contrast. Before we continue, try asking yourself this: is the tiger's rage loud or is it controlled?
It is controlled or restrained. The tiger has power, but the cage prevents meaningful action. His silence therefore becomes expressive. The poet does not need to give the tiger a long speech. The repeated movements, the quiet rage, the ignored visitors, and the distant stars reveal his inner state.
Let us practice the first question. What are the characteristics of the tiger in captivity? Think of at least 4 points before Swati answers. You may say them mentally or write them down.
The tiger in captivity is restricted, frustrated, silently angry, and emotionally detached from the visitors. He moves repeatedly within the cage, has strength behind bars, hears human sounds at night, and gazes at the stars beyond his reach. Answer line. Captivity turns the tiger's powerful natural existence into a repetitive and sorrowful life of confinement.
Second question. How does the tiger's behavior differ in the wild? In the jungle, he is imagined as moving through shadows and long grass, waiting near the water hole, and showing his fangs and claws near the jungle's edge. These actions are connected with instinct, movement, and freedom.
For comparison questions, organize your answer rather than mixing both settings randomly. Begin with the cage, then shift to the jungle, and finish with the central contrast. Use whereas or in contrast. Answer line. Whereas the caged tiger merely paces within a fixed space, the wild tiger is associated with stealth, hunting, and natural movement.
Here is a likely interpretation question. Why does the poet describe the tiger's strength as being behind bars? The answer is not only that the tiger is physically enclosed, the phrase suggests that the animal's natural power has become ineffective because it cannot act freely.
Precisely. Right. The expression shows that the tiger remains strong, but the cage prevents him from expressing or using that strength naturally. Avoid saying that the bars destroy his physical strength. They restrict its use. That small distinction improves the quality of your answer.
A natural doubt may arise here. Does the poem describe an actual conversation inside the tiger's mind? No. The poet presents what the tiger should be doing and what he actually does. We infer his emotions from the images and actions. This is why words such as longing, frustration, and sorrow are interpretations supported by the poem.
That is a useful reading habit. Separate direct description from interpretation. Directly, the tiger stalks, ignores visitors, hears cars, and stares at stars. From these details, we interpret confinement, frustration, and longing. In an examination, support every emotional word with the detail from the poem.
This is a good mini recap. We have covered the tiger in the cage, the imagined tiger in the jungle, the return to the concrete cell, and the effect of repetition. If you are studying with Etsy, this is a natural point to test the exact doubt you still have, rather than rereading the whole poem without a question.
And an active recall test is simple. Close the book and reconstruct the poem's movement in 3 steps: cage, jungle, cage. Then add one emotion to each stage. This method helps you check whether you understand the structure, not merely whether the lines look familiar.
The textbook then opens a wider discussion. Are zoos necessary for the protection or conservation of some species? Are they useful for educating the public? Are there alternatives? Notice that the poem raises these questions. It does not provide a single detailed policy answer.
So, in a long answer, you may consider both points of view. One view can discuss protection and public education, as suggested by the textbook question. The other can focus on the tiger's suffering, loss of freedom, and need for a natural habitat, which are central to the poem. Keep the response balanced and connected to the text.
Let us frame the argument carefully. If someone says that zoos are always beneficial, what could you question? The poem makes us ask whether displaying an animal for visitors serves the animal's best interests. The tiger ignores the visitors, and its strength remains behind bars. These details challenge the idea that observation automatically means care.
Yes, but we should not write that the poem proves every zoo is harmful in exactly the same way. That would go beyond the text. A responsible answer can say that the poem strongly questions captivity and encourages readers to think about conservation, animal welfare, natural habitats, and empathy.
The textbook also includes poems about a tiger, a panther, and greater cats to extend this discussion. We do not need to memorize those poems for this chapter's central explanation. Their purpose here is to help students compare the experience of animals behind bars and discuss different views about zoos.
If you are asked to speak for a couple of minutes, begin with the poem's central image, then present one concern and one possible counterpoint. Finish with your own balanced conclusion. For example, the poem reminds us that wild animals need freedom and natural habitats. While protection and education may be discussed, captivity must also be judged from the animal's point of view.
Now let us revisit the theme. Freedom and captivity form the main opposition. Alongside that, the poem raises animal welfare, natural habitats, conservation, and empathy towards living beings. The tiger becomes a powerful example, but the poem's concern extends beyond one animal.
Use this answer frame for the theme. The poem highlights the conflict between the freedom that wild animals require and the confinement imposed by captivity. Through the tiger's restricted movements and longing for the jungle, Leslie Norris encourages readers to value natural habitats and respond to animal suffering with empathy.
We are entering the final revision section now. Imagine a 3-mark question. What does the poem reveal about the impact of captivity on the tiger? Build the answer from evidence. First, his movement is restricted. Second, his strength is behind bars. Third, his attention turns towards distant sounds and stars.
A complete response could say, captivity restricts the tiger's movement and prevents him from using his natural strength. He repeatedly stalks the length of the cage and ignores visitors, suggesting frustration and emotional withdrawal. At night, his gaze at the stars expresses his longing for the open world and freedom. This is concise but evidence based.
Another likely question asks about the significance of the last stanza. The answer should include the night setting, the last voice, patrolling cars, brilliant eyes, and brilliant stars. Together, these details show that human activity continues around the caged tiger while he remains separated from the freedom of the outside world.
Common mistake. Students sometimes write that the tiger stares at the stars because he is happy to see them. The emotional direction is the opposite. The stars intensify his awareness of the world beyond the cage. Write longing, separation, or unattainable freedom, not happiness.
Let us do a rapid word check. Which word suggests the wild tiger's actions? Stalks, lurking, sliding, or all three? And which phrase suggests his emotional condition in the cage? Quiet rage or plump deer?
The answer is all three for the first part, although stalks is used for the cage as well, where it becomes repetitive and restricted. Quiet rage answers the second part. This is a useful reminder that a word's effect depends on its context. Never analyze a word in isolation when the surrounding image changes its meaning.
Now recall the title. A tiger in the zoo sounds simple, but it immediately places the wild animal in an unnatural setting. The title prepares us for the central contrast. We expect a tiger to be associated with the jungle, yet the poem shows him confined in a zoo.
For a title based answer, write that the title is appropriate because it identifies the subject and highlights the unusual condition of the tiger. The word zoo directs attention towards captivity, while the poem repeatedly contrasts that setting with the tiger's natural habitat. Avoid saying only that the title is short or attractive.
One final active recall challenge before the closing recap. Explain the whole poem in 3 sentences without looking at your book. Sentence 1 should describe the caged tiger. Sentence 2 should describe the life he should have in the jungle. Sentence 3 should explain the poet's message.
Here is one model structure, which you should understand rather than copy blindly. The poem presents a tiger confined to a small cage, where his strength becomes useless and his rage remains restrained. It contrasts this with the freedom, movement, and instinctive life he should experience in the jungle. Through this contrast, the poet questions captivity and highlights the importance of natural habitats and empathy for animals.
Let us gather the complete picture. A Tiger in the Zoo by Leslie Norris moves from the caged tiger to the tiger's imagined life in the jungle and back to captivity. Remember the restricted few steps, the velvet quiet pause, the quiet rage, the shadow and long grass, the water hole and deer, the concrete cell, the ignored visitors, and the brilliant stars.
The most important ideas are freedom versus captivity, natural instinct versus artificial restriction, and the emotional suffering caused by confinement. The main poetic effects come from vivid imagery, contrast, repeated words, and the movement between settings. Commonly tested questions may ask you to compare the tiger in the cage and the wild, explain quiet rage, interpret the stars, or discuss the poet's view of zoos.
One common mistake is to describe the tiger as content or powerless. He is neither. He is powerful, but his strength is trapped. He is quiet, but full of rage. He sees the stars, but cannot reach the freedom they suggest. Your next step is small. Write one comparison paragraph using 3 poem details. Then close your book and explain the poem out in 3 sentences. If one doubt remains, Edzy can help you test it through a question-led revision exchange. Thank you for studying with us. Keep your understanding clear, your evidence precise, and your confidence steady. We will meet again in the next Edzy episode.